It always sounds so official. Well, welcome, guys. Hello. I am so excited that you're here. You're joining me. I am Heidi Roberge. I'm a diamond from New Hampshire. A little bit about myself, and then I'll kind of tell you what the Level Up Leadership is all about, why I kind of started it real super short, because our guests tonight are two of my favorites. I mean, they're all my favorites, but these are two of my favorites because I love so much about their story, and I can't wait for them to share with you in just a moment. But I'm 49, I'm a mom of 3, and I started 5 years ago next month. I'll be celebrating right around Labor Day. And it's been a labor of love, but 5 years with It Works. And it was a business that I never knew I needed, and it found me. And I was one of those people that was super skeptical. Took me about 10 months to say yes to a good friend of mine. And once I did, I really found a family. I found a culture that I was so happy that it found me. And I will say, as a diamond, proud of that. My journey has been slower than I would have liked, but you know what I figured out? Took me a couple of years to figure out. I thought I was a leader. I thought I would, I'm enrolling people and people are coming into my organization, but they were also leaving, and they weren't being successful. They weren't duplicating. And as a real strong red, I figured out I wasn't leading with leadership. And that's when I found the church through this business. And I also found personal growth is kind of important. So because of that, and really, pulling back the layers and getting into personal development, the past year and a half, I've been really able to find my groove of the business, find my right people. The team that I have is called Team Freedom, and we're all about that. So I wanted to do these Level Up with Leadership Zooms. I do have a YouTube channel. I am growing it. You got to start somewhere, but I am going to post this. So for anybody that's obviously one team, one mission, and sister teams, you guys can find me on YouTube, and I'll obviously share it with our guests tonight. But the Level Up with Leadership really started from the fact that Margaritaville got canceled, and I was going, and I wanted to be able to bring some leaders into our weekly chats and have my team, who are really on the newer side, see what is out there and see what It Works is about. So those of you that are looking for personal development, that are looking for more, whether you're trying to re-rank, promote, whatever your reasons are, the Level Up with Leadership is a series that I do every Monday and Thursday night. And I'm so excited for my guests tonight. Coinkadinky, they both were available tonight, and they're both moms of 4. And what we're going to do tonight, just so you guys know the format, I'm going to start with Maribeth Dodd, our field representative, our liaison. She started off just like everybody else, and she'll share her story. If you haven't heard of Maribeth, I'm not sure where you've been living, but yes, Maribeth is going to kick things off, and kind of what I'm going to do tonight with Maribeth and with Christy Christensen, who I haven't had the pleasure yet of meeting or talking to, and I want to thank you both so much for taking some time tonight. I really, really, really appreciate it, because it is all about one team, one mission, and I'm going to kind of give you guys each kind of a leading question and start with Maribeth, then go to Christy, and we'll kind of go back and forth over the next, 53 minutes. And so it will be great to hear their perspectives. But yeah, so without further ado, I mean, if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. I'm sure the girls will kind of prompt you, as we always do. I'm gonna, let them really take the lead here, and hopefully, I know you'll leave here with some nuggets and hopefully some inspiration. So Maribeth, thank you so much, hon. I love doing the power hours with you during the weekdays. I try not to miss one of them because it's always lots of fun. And please, for anybody that's new, that's going to be watching this recording or joining us right now, please share your story and your why, and really kind of how It Works fell into your life.
Okay, I would love to. Thank you for having me, Heidi. First of all, you said you're 49. Mm-hmm. So you said you look amazing. I need all your tips and tricks. You look amazing. And this is a real honor, you guys, to be here tonight. Also, I want to say, Christy, this is super fun. We've never gotten to do a call together, I don't think, ever. And I have to tell all of you right now, you can't tell right now because I worked out tonight and it's really kind of scary, but I have this new wave iron I've been doing in my hair, and I have super straight hair. And sometimes when I do it, I'm like, I'm Christy Christensen right now. Like, it'll be so wavy. And I'm like, basically, if I just try to have her exact hair, it's so awesome. So I had to share that with you guys. But you guys, let's see, I live in Nashville, Tennessee. And I mean, my story with network marketing started when I was a kid. You know, I was growing up in a small town in Michigan in the middle of nowhere. And my parents had 4 kids, just like I do. And I just remember them really struggling to make ends meet. My dad was very entrepreneurial. And so though he had a day job, he was always doing something to make extra money. And my dad, you know, came across network marketing, and he actually tried a couple different companies and just nothing ever really clicked. Until he got to the point where he joined a company and he had an upline that was super charismatic, seeing crazy success. It was like transforming our whole little town. Every eye was on what was happening because we had a teacher and a coach in our town that started in network marketing and blew up the town with this network marketing. Everybody was his customer and his teammate, and my dad jumped on board. And I got to watch them run like crazy after this business. And you guys have probably heard my story, but if you haven't, my dad's upline that I'm talking about is Mark Pentecost. And so I watched the Pentecost family go from living in a little farmhouse down the street, I shouldn't even say street, down the dirt road from us, to obviously the massive success that they've built now. And so I watched my family really benefit from network marketing, and our finances be completely changed because of it. It paid for all my college and helped my parents to get out of debt and gave my dad a ton of confidence and leadership capabilities. And I loved it, you guys. But I knew from the time I was about 12 years old that I felt called to ministry, and I was doing music by that time too. And so I went into college and took my very first job as a worship pastor at a church, doing contemporary worship music. I interviewed at 21 years old, super young, and just stepped right into it. And I just never thought I would need network marketing. I never thought it was something that I would want to do. I was like, you know, cool. I'm so glad that works for people. I love her, Christy. She's the best. I have one that would be really good friends with her. I can tell already. So where was I? I don't know. I just never thought I would need network marketing, you know? And I also just thought like it was scary, and I thought it was sales, and I'm like, no, I just want to have fun, like do my other stuff that I love. And but I got to the place where my husband and I were both in ministry, and you don't get into ministry for the money, you know. We were doing okay, but we had our 3rd son. We've got 4 boys now, but we had 3. And I came to the realization, I had this infant in my arms, you guys, and I was like, I am never getting my nails done again. I am never going to be able to go on vacation. I'm going to be stuck with this same red couch that I've had for 10 years. Like just some of those things that are like, they're non-essentials. But you don't grow up and think, and then when I grow up, I'm going to just like barely scrape by. Like, you don't want to do that, you know? And so that was the point when I was finally like, you know what? I think I might want to give this thing a try. I'm scared, but I want to do it anyway. And so I called Cammie Pentecost, who her and I went to school together and knew each other. And I hadn't talked to her, you guys, since high school, not even like senior year, because they moved away like the last couple of years of high school. So I called her up and I was like, hey, I think I want to try your business. I think I might be really good at it. I don't know. I'm scared. And she signed me up. She didn't even reach out to me. Side note, guys, she never reached out to me. I reached out to her. And I said, I'd seen videos on compensation plan and some of that stuff. And I'm like, I can tell this is real money. And I knew she was having success. I just decided to jump in. And so long story short, you guys, I saw real quick success within just a matter, like insert income disclosure statement, but in a matter of months, we passed our combined family income really quickly. And we saw so many people's lives change real fast. And I've wrapped thousands of people in my day with the wrap in person, the way we used to do it old school. But what I'm addicted to about this business, you guys, is the personal development, the leadership opportunity that it gave me, where I was in a place where I couldn't grow much more in my position. And it just opened the doors for me to just be able to grow in a totally different way in leadership. leadership, which is one of my biggest passions. So I love it. I have been a part of the corporate team for the last 3.5 years, and I'm the director of field development now. And so I get to lead the field team in the US and coordinate a lot with our international field teams as well, and just help people to build a business. So that was kind of long, but that's my story.
I love that you have that original story of when the Pentecost, before we all knew them. I love when you share that you have that connection. Thank you. Christy, number 3 in the company. Double ambassador. 4 kids. Cutie patootie hubby. The best hair, right? Right?
Yes.
Share your story, hon. I'm so thankful that you're joining me tonight.
Hi guys. Okay, so I started this business, gosh, it's like been 7.5 years. It has gone by so fast. So I started it as a newlywed. We were on government assistance. We were paycheck to paycheck, you know, all the fun stuff. But honestly, the biggest thing for me was that my husband was was in school and working, and so I rarely saw him. We were on that government assistance, and he didn't want us to start having kids until we got off of it. So that was honestly my driving point. My paychecks at the salon as a new hairstylist, like I thought like, oh my gosh, I've made it. I'm going to win. This is going to be something like amazing. This is my career. This is my life. And then it was not. Like, it took time to build the clientele, and it was slow, and I just started to kind of fall out of love with it. But the girl that I actually joined with, I met her at my salon. So she was there. So I believe, you know, it all happened for a reason. So I just jumped in. Honestly, I didn't really know what it was. I didn't know how it was, anything like that. But insert all of the income disclosure statements here. It has completely changed our life. Like, we had no kids, okay? And then we've gone through life of having 1 kid, having 2 kids, having 3 kids, having 4 kids, obviously adjusting through ups, through downs, through easy, through hard, through making no money, through making a lot of money. So, you know, we've just done it all. But we now are a full-time stay-at-home family, essentially work from home family. And it's just blessed our lives a lot, because we have the options for our kids and for our family, and that's the most important thing for us. But it's also just allowed us to, I think the biggest thing for me that I love about this business is we can dream bigger without feeling guilty. I never have to worry that like I'm going to make it here by myself, because you cannot make it by yourself. And so that's been kind of the biggest blessing ever, is that I'm never guilty about my next big dream, because I know I'm going to have to help a lot of people get there. But I mean, down to the very last, you know, being able to pay for our groceries and just get whatever the heck we want. I'm like, oh, that thing is $10 more and it's super healthy. It's like much healthier. I can get it. Like, I do not have to worry about that. And that is, that's honestly the best part. And then obviously it goes up to all the amazing things that we're about to build our dream home. Within the next couple months, we should be starting it. So, you know, it goes from the ground up.
Thank you so much. So let's lead into that, because I have kind of my 5 leading questions, but I figured, like, let's see how the conversation goes. So Maribeth, Christy just said, you know, she has a team. It's all about the team and, you know, everyone promoting, working together. It can't just be one person going double ambassador, going ambassador. I mean, even any of the ranks, I mean, maybe executive and Ruby, you could, you know, truck along and kind of do with others. Got to have your husband join, right? But what are some great leadership tips, like developing a team? So picture those of us watching are, you know, right on that cusp. We want the double, the triple, the VIP presidential as well. What are some tips and must-dos as a developing leader, would you say? And then Christy, same question to you.
I think one thing that comes to mind, you guys, is when you're pushing for diamond, double diamond, and some of those ranks, most of the time you're doing another job or 2 or 3, right, at the same time, and you're multitasking. And even if you're not, it could be that you're managing kids or you're taking care of family members, or like most of us find ourselves in a situation where we're really multitasking. And I think it can be overwhelming to think, okay, how am I going to teach my people all of this new stuff? And you think you need to go teach each individual and, you know, spend the time. And I'm not saying you don't spend the time, but I think working smarter and not harder as a leader, which that can sound really general, but that's going to be really important to you. If you guys let people like think of it almost as like a like apprenticeship, right? When you're teaching someone, you're really just showing them how you work your business. That's it. You've got to still work your business. You can't take your eyes off of your own business and just focus on helping these other people. You've got to do both. And so a lot of that in leadership is your messaging, you know, you're doing host to post, you're doing these things. You're just, you know, feeding that to your team and saying, here are the things I'm doing. You know, that way you're showing them how you're working your business, but you're also teaching them by example. You're letting them sit in sometimes on a Zoom where you're talking to a couple new people, you know, about the business or whatever, however it is that you're recruiting and talking with people. You're screenshotting when it's appropriate, conversation so they can see how you talk. You know, one of the reasons you guys, we share scripts is not because we want a bunch of like robots out there in the field, like saying all the same thing. But it's because we want to teach people the words to say and how to answer a question. We want to give them that confidence. So even before they feel that full confidence to answer the question, they already have the words that they can then adjust a little bit and put into their own words and be able to share with people. And I think that's so key. You guys have probably heard us say it before around here because we say it a lot, but you should really be spending about a third of your time recruiting new people, about a third of your time taking care of your current customers and distributors, and about a third of your time, believe it or not, developing yourself. It's so important, you guys. I can't even begin to tell you, and it doesn't feel like it because it doesn't feel like, oh, well, that's not making me immediate money, but that's your long-term money. That's growing you into the CEO that's going to eventually make way more money than you would have ever made had you not read the book, had you not done the podcast, had you not watched the TED Talks. You guys, there's no excuse. There's so much free content out there, almost more than you could ever take in. And I'll throw a couple of my favorites in the chat here in just a little bit, but make sure you're doing that self-development. If you are somebody who has no time, get audiobooks. Listen while you're out running around, while you're running errands. Don't let any moment go wasted when you could be taking in something that's going to grow your leadership.
So for me, I really like to bring it back to the basics, you guys. People ask me questions all the time, and I know that I've grown as a person and as a leader, and I know that I now have something to offer, but don't underestimate what you can do now, just simply bringing people in. I know that sounds really simple, but sometimes you're going to bring people in your business and they're just going to do it. They're just going to do it. But if you are not consistently bringing people in, you are never going to find those people. I think, you know, some people I have that are in a spot for a certain amount of time. They're, what's the problem with me? What's the problem with my team? What's my secret? What's your secret? What is wrong? What is this? What is that? And my ultimate question is, how many people have you brought in this month? How many people did you bring in last month? How many people did you bring in the month before? Because at the end of the day, it's a duplicating effect. So if you didn't bring anyone in for the last 60 days, and then you brought in 10 this month, don't expect that reward to happen this month. You need to wait at least 30 to 60 days to start to see that reward, to start to see that growth. And so patience, honestly, was one of the biggest things I had to learn as a leader. Like, I set a goal and I set a time for it. You have to. But very often did I not hit that goal in that time frame, and that was okay. Because of course faster is better, but you have got to have patience with your potentials. You've got to have patience with yourself, with your business, just like what Maribeth said. You know, we all want those immediate results right now, but you have to put in the mental growth every single day in order to, in 30 days, be that diamond leader that can actually handle a diamond team, to be the double diamond team. Everybody wants to be the leader, the face, the this, the that. But I'm like, that's not what got me to where I am. I get the recognition for it now. And it's almost like, okay, sure, I'll do this. Sure, I'll do that. And it's great. But when I get too wrapped up in it, guess what happens? I'm not doing what I need to do. It's just bringing people in and coaching them to Ruby, and then coaching them to Emerald, and coaching them to Diamond. And you might be like, well, I'm just a Diamond right now. Not just a Diamond, but you know what I mean. I'm a Diamond right now. How am I supposed to think about coaching someone else a Diamond? You just do. You bring in someone and you say, we go Diamond in 90 days here. That's it. You set the pace. Just like it used to be 4 customers, 30 days, and $100 shopping spree. Guess what? All the people new coming in, they get 6 customers in 30 days, or honestly, I tell my girls a week. I'm like, your goal is a week, but they didn't know any different, right? But when it was 4 customers, all of a sudden people would get their 4th customer on the 30th day. So when 6 customers came out, people were like, oh my gosh, how are people going to do that? They're just going to do it because you set that tone. And so even if you're a diamond, you speak to people as if they are already a diamond. We go diamond in 90 days here. That's why I tell my team that's normal for us. And so those are the mindset things that I'm giving to my newbies while they're actually learning how to grow this business. But do not be afraid to just like put people into the computer, coach them, just like Maribeth said, by showing them what you're doing. And that's it. Like, it is not as difficult. It's hard work, but like Maribeth said, work smarter, not harder. It's putting people in and showing them what you did to put people in. That's literally what we do. And then when somebody is ready to rock and roll and they're just killing it, sometimes you just got to get out of their way, and they do not need you. They'll come to you when they need you. You just got to freaking get out of their way. But that's honestly the biggest thing with leadership that I learned, is that do not get distracted with 100 Zooms, with this, with that, with all the learning, and then not even put it into action, not even actually put people into the computer. I have people get on my team trainings every week and they're like, this is my week, this is my month. And I'm like, but that's what you said last month when you showed up to every single team training, which you should, but then you didn't put anything into action. You haven't brought in one person. So I'm like, you're probably not going to be dying by the end of the month. You haven't brought anybody in. So you have to be realistic with your goals, you guys, but you know, set the goal high and then do the work to get to the goal and just show the people how to do it. It's really not brain surgery. We're all overthinking it. We really are. We're overthinking the simplicity of the business.
Oh, and I totally agree, because I think, honestly, being transparent, I think that was my holdup, because Ruby came really fast, and then I was so focused on customers and power enrolling was the thing in like 2016-ish, 17, and every incentive, like the cruise, got that, any incentive, I'm like, I want that. And it was about the points and the systems and whatnot. And then, teammates, I think it was either I assumed that they were absolutely going to just go like me, being a runner and red and just doing it. And they didn't come to me with questions, but yet now I see where I was left of it. I see where my error was in keeping it simple. So I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I think I had self-limiting belief where I thought I had to give them a zillion ways to do it, when it's just do it. Do the steps of success, which we keep hearing about every day. I love that the KPIs have come out. I love that it's like, here you go, because that's the biggest concern people when I'm talking to them about joining and talking and having the conversation. People are like, well, how do you do what you do? And it's like anything, you go into a job and real world and you have tasks to do, and this is what I love. So I'm very, very thankful. Maribeth, like, you can bring this back to the captain of the ship over there, that things are really on for us in the field, very simplistic. And just when we need more distributor based training, you guys hit it out of the park last week. Like, those trainings were just so good to hear people say, have the conversation about building your team. Wouldn't you want 4 distributors versus 15 customers? Because those 4 get 6, and then you get 24. And I'm like, oh, aha moment, right? Okay. So in that regards, what would both of you say is a day in the life? And I know, Maribeth, being director of the field development, you aren't necessarily building your business in that regard like you were, but when you were doing it, and Christy, same thing, like, you guys have 4 kids. I have 3, 2 at home, but 4 kids, littles, right? Mine are 12 and 9 at home. And we're going into, a lot of people are going into remote learning. We have 2 weeks that we're starting that, and then we're hybrid for a bit. So many people are deciding to homeschool. What would you give as some advice about your, not so much multitasking, but having a time management goal, time management and taking rest so you don't burn out? Give some tips on how you guys work your business through promotion, through the busyness of life. Anything that you guys can give for advice would be great.
Man, I feel like that question is so different right now. The answer is so different than what I would normally say. What I normally say to that question is like, we can never find this perfect balance in every single given day, but we have seasons where we might be able to spend a little more time with our family. We have seasons where we're working a little more and the family sees a lot less of us. But I do feel like you guys, this is such a weird time to be in leadership, but it's also an incredible time to be in leadership because the people who are coming up in leadership during this time, that's all of us growing as leaders. That's the new people you bring in that have maybe led no one in their entire life. We're coming up in these circumstances that are difficult, in these times where there's a little more juggling than maybe normal. And what it's going to create is a grit in each and every one of us. And so I think even though this is a hard time to find balance, it's a hard time to have time management. I think we're going to end up better for it in the long run. I will also say it's a great time, you guys, to get up an hour earlier. If you haven't been doing that, especially if you're juggling kids and school and everything else, I'll tell you right now, we had our first day of distance learning today, you guys. And I literally texted my neighbor at the end and I was like, we're all alive. I'm just letting you guys know because I have a real comfort zone as it relates to work and leadership. And I can do that stuff all day long. What I don't have a comfort zone with is any kind of homeschooling or like it's hard. It's really hard. I don't think I have the normal personality of anybody who has 4 kids. That's what I love to tell people. I love it, but I'm like the fun mom. I really have a hard time with like all the structure and all the things. But I will tell you guys this, what I've learned the last couple of years, majorly is that too much multitasking never does me any favors. I've got to really focus in. So for me, that means, I hire a nanny and I have time where I'm just working and that's what I am engrossed in and spending my time doing. And I barter time with my husband and he took the little one to work today, like we trade off and he's got them and he's putting them to bed tonight, but I did dinner. And so it's like, finding those balances. And I know not everybody has a partner that can come in like that, but you might have a friend that would trade off with you, right? You might have ways creatively that you can think of. And one of my favorite quotes, you guys, is there are people who have done more with less. There are people who've done more with less. And we all love that good like underdog story. And that can be every single one of our stories. When we look back on this season and we go, dude, I was homeschooling. I was, maybe lost some of my income or whatever those things might be. I was dealing with family members who are sick, like all these things that we're all kind of walking through. And we can say, but yet I didn't give up. I had that long obedience in the same direction. I kept my goals in mind. I didn't just think of where I wanted to be. Christy said earlier, everybody wants that like title and they want to be that face and they want to be all those things. And we can visualize that. But how often are we visualizing the road that it takes to get there? We have to be willing to do that and think of that work that it's going to take us to get there, not just the end game, but the road and the hard stuff and the late nights sometimes and the early mornings and whatever it's going to take to get us there. So, yeah.
This is like the number one question, always. How do you balance? How do you balance? How do you balance? I think, first of all, you have to give yourself some grace. Because like, it'll never be perfect. There's times where you'll be like, okay, I didn't spend enough time with my kids today. And then there's going to be times where you're like, I didn't spend enough time with my business today. But, I think of it as I have 4 children and then I have a 5th child and that's this business. I am going to feed it every single day. It does not go hungry. I literally am like, I will stress out if I don't work my business each day. And I don't want to say that in a bad way. I say that in a way of like, I have trained myself to be disciplined enough that I'm not going to skip a day because I know that I'm here at home with my family because of this business. And sometimes we tend to, you guys have heard it probably 1,000 times. We make our why our excuse, or we hit our goals and then we sit down and we forget how we got here in the first place. And we start to put our business on the back burner because we now have that freedom. But guess what? The freedom will not last very long if you put your business on the back burner. So I feed my business every single day. And so as far as an actual schedule, it's going to be different for somebody every single day. And I know you guys have heard that, but everybody still wants the perfect system. So I will say this, never did I ever want to wake up early. I did start a 6 a.m. power with my team a couple months ago. We loved it. And then I stopped doing it because I was like, you know what? I'm disciplined enough. I'm going to go to bed and I'm still going to do it. My team kept doing it. And I noticed that less and less of my team started showing up to it because I didn't show up to it. And then I realized I'm disciplined, but my team is not yet. they need that accountability. And so for me, I'm just started them again yesterday. The kids are back in school. They're actually in school because it's a private school. Again, options. I can send my kids away. Love them, but they were like literally like couch potatoes. We tried, but it's like 117 degrees out here, so it just is options. It's options even if you want to send your kids away sometimes. So that was our option. So for me, you guys, the most important thing that I do every single day is I wake up and whether I'm answering messages first and then playing with the kids, whatever, I am going to the gym. I'm going to the gym. The reason why I go to the gym is simply because it starts my day right. No one can say anything to me. Nothing can happen to me because physically I'm in order, and that gets me in order mentally. And it goes hand in hand. When I'm working out, I listen to personal development. And so by the time it's, 10 a.m., I'm good. Like I can take on anything. I'm ready to work. I'm excited. My energy is up. My, physical excitement is up. I come home, I make my drinks. I do this, I do that. And people are like, wow, why are you so excited? And I'm like, because I was just working out. Like that's really what it is. And that makes me excited about the business. Because we underestimate the physical part. We really do. We underestimate that part. And then of course I find balance in being like, okay, like nobody needs me right now. So this is the time that I need to decide to go, play with my kids, hang out with my kids. If, I don't have those blocks where I put my phone down. I don't look at it for 2 hours. That's just me personally. I feel like I've created the discipline enough to be like, if somebody needs me, I can pick up my phone and I can simply answer a question for a newbie. Like it's not that hard. And then I can put it down and continue playing on with my kids. So that's just kind of what has worked for me, because it will, for me personally, if I know there's a phone full of text messages that I'm not responding to and somebody needs me, that stresses me more out than taking 5 minutes responding to them and then going back to what I'm doing. Again, I have that time freedom with my kids, so I can choose when and where. But again, there's going to be days where you kind of drop the ball on one or the other, and you just have to decide, hey, you know what? I dropped the ball on sending my messages today. I'm going to be better about it tomorrow. How I'm going to do that? I'm going to decide to wake up at 6 a.m. instead, because life is a little bit crazy right now, whatever it is. So the most important thing is start your day with either physical or mental or both, if you really want to win. And, just make sure that you're just aware. That's really what it is. I'm aware of what's going on. I'm aware that I just worked for an hour, and I'm aware that I can go and spend some time with my kids and nobody will die, So it's not a perfect schedule, but it doesn't take a lot of time to work this business, you guys. I don't know what ranks are in here, but you guys probably don't have a team big enough that you're on Zooms 24 hours a day, and you shouldn't be. I'm doing a couple Zooms a day. That probably takes up the most time of the day. And that's simply because we're digital all right now. But my actual income producing activities probably takes an hour to an hour and a half. Like that's not very long, you guys. But once you start to have a team, then some time is going to be going to training and this and that. But again, with that leadership, that time that you're giving other people, that's when the income grows. So it's exactly what you prayed for. So don't be mad at your business because you neglected your kids. Don't be mad at your kids because you neglected your business. You joined this business for the freedom of both. And so you have to just set what your schedule is going to be each day and go into it with some grace. For me, I know like it's not going to be perfect every day. If all heck breaks loose in something in my business, Erin knows, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to, work out what I need to work out. If all heck breaks loose at home, like the team will survive without me for a couple hours, So your guys' goal is to have a business where, I love the book Build to Last. It's so good, where you go away for a week retreat, whatever. They don't allow phones. And I say it like that because I was just in Cabo and I was like so excited to work my business. I was like, nobody's here. I'm on the beach. This is the best time to work my business. So it got me, I'm like, pictures, everything's great. But for me, you guys, like, I know that my goal is to be able to take that time and know that my business is going to still grow. But I don't even feel like I'm there yet. I probably am in a sense, but I don't want to be there. I enjoy doing this business. I enjoy helping my team, but none of us are there. So you don't get to do that yet. I say that lightly because I don't want you to feel like you're married to your business, but it has to be one of your other kids. It has to be a priority no matter where you decide you're going to fit it in each day.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's like another kid, because then when you really give it a lot of attention, there isn't so much guilt, because like you, Christy, I like love this business. I absolutely love it. We bought this house and I'm like, I need an office for me. Some days it's on the phone and it's on the deck because it's a nice day, because it's like we've all been in different levels of quarantine and different levels of reaction. And then when it's nice weather in New Hampshire, it takes a while to get some nice weather. So now that it's summer, you know, tomorrow we're getting to, you know, my family, we're going to take some time and go to Maine and just take a drive. And it's kind of the way that I'm trying to duplicate designing your day. Like that's our Team Freedom motto, is the goal. The end game is to be able to design your day. But I love that. I think that's so good. It's like another child or whatever you want to associate it with, because yeah, like I like you, and I know Maribeth has her ways that she has to, you know, navigate the kids, who's got what. You know, my husband knows that he's got to be super supportive in those moments of sale time and end of the month, and he knows I hunker down and you know, all of that. But I've also heard some leaders really speak about, you know, your kids are part of your brand, and they know. I forget who it was. One of the week last week when everybody was talking about how the kids go with you to the you know, the amusement park, and they're part of your photos because, you know, it's your brand and it's how you want to present yourself in real life as well. So those are really, really honest answers. I really appreciate that. And I like that. I think you guys watching too, a few of the girls watching for sure. I met at a diamond retreat and got to really understand a lot of the different ways we work this business and how we balance. And it's okay to really like to work, because again, we all get to work from home, and the end game is to hopefully, you know, have a level of leadership that we're like, yeah, I got it, I got here. But I love that that's a journey. So tell me, Maribeth and Christy, what makes It Works so special to you? And I ask that question because my YouTube channel is public, and I want anybody to like hit this if they do and go, oh, what is so special about It Works? Why this business? Why is it so special to you guys? So first, Maribeth.
You know, I think that, gosh, that's like a layered answer for me. You know, I think that I've gotten to see a personal impact for my family's finances, you know, years ago. I got to watch my friends do the same thing. And then after I had been in the business for years, you guys, I remember I was having a bad day. I was having a bad day. And I remember somebody calling me and asking me and saying, hey, do you still feel like It Works is the best opportunity out there? And like without missing a beat, even though I was having a rough day, I can't remember what had happened in my business. Like business is business, you know, it was a rough day. And I remember saying, absolutely. Like just thinking through it and thinking like, I just can't fathom another company with a heart like this, you know, that has a desire to continuously evolve and serve people. And I feel like now, since I've been in the corporate side, you guys, I have now years of experience seeing what that looks like, that there's a whole team of people, there's hundreds of people in a corporate office that are there to support you guys. And then when we have a large corporate meeting, that the conversation is, how do we best set them up for success? Like the focus of our company and the main product of our company is not the products that we ship to someone's door. It's the people that we have the opportunity to serve and to love. And that really is the heart behind who we are. I think on top of that, you guys, we have done just some unprecedented things in the industry. And, you know, we're getting ready to be featured in another publication coming up pretty soon. You guys probably already know, we have partnered with Impact TV as well. So they're going to be seeing more and more stories of success coming out of our company. But I really do believe, you guys, that we are smart and we are savvy as far as changing with the times and making sure this is an opportunity that's just viable for everyone through changing seasons. But I also believe that the humility behind a company like this, with the heart and the community aspect that we have is just something that's not easily found, you guys. It really just is not. And so that's what I value about being here. And I'm addicted to seeing people's lives change and see people grow as a person and impact other people. So that's what keeps me here.
You know, I could repeat everything Maribeth said, but truly, I'm so grateful that this was my first and only company. And I simply say that because I didn't know what I didn't know. And it's how do I say this without saying it? It's not what it seems. You know, you don't know and understand, honestly, until you spend some time with someone in corporate or spend time with Mark or Cindy or Cami or Kinsey. You just don't know until you actually spend some time with them. And then you're like, wow, like people in other companies, they don't spend time with their distributors like they've spent with us. We've been invited to their homes, to their islands, to their, you know, to everything. Like they actually know us. They actually care about us. You know, when we went to one of the events and you might say, well, yeah, 'cause you're a top leader. Well, you know, they can't message and have a party with 200,000 people, right? So they have to do what they have to do. It's just like you, and you'll have that one day too, you know? But I went to an event one time without Aaron, and we had just had, I think it was Elliot, which was our third. And they were like, where's Aaron? Like, how's the baby? You know, they knew everything. They understood everything. It was just special. It's just special because I appreciate too that it's privately owned. Because I love seeing that, like, here's our corporate, but their children are in it. So I know that they're always doing the best thing for us, period. You know, there might be shipping delays sometimes, this and that. And I'm like, when people complain about that, I'm like, well, did you think that they wanted to not make more? Like, did you think that they're trying to sabotage you? Like, what are you talking about? Right? Like, we have to think that this is a business, you guys. As much as we bring the personal aspect into it, it's still a business. It still has to run with other companies shipping our stuff. Like, we still have to do the things, right? We still have to run like a business. But I also really appreciate that I know that Cindy prays for us, you know, like I love that it's a Christian-based company. I appreciate that so much, and that attracts the right people into my business. And I have seen over my last 7.5 years that the right people stay in and the wrong people do not. Just even new distributors that I've signed, you know, I can see that they are like, either they grow from this and they learn to, you know, understand and honestly start to follow God, or they're like, you know what, I don't think this is for me. And it's simply because they're not a match. Like, you have to be willing to give, you have to be willing to love, you have to be willing to serve, like, or you just won't match here. And I say that kind of tippy-toeing because I know that maybe a new distributor that watches this, they're not going to understand what that means. But as you start to grow a team, you will. Just like what Maribeth said, you have to be humble to go anywhere in this company. You just have to. You're going to get in first for yourself. And when all your bills are paid, that's when you might start thinking about other people. But at the end of the day, like, I just appreciate it so much. And one of the big things too, you guys, is we adapt. I have seen a lot change over the last 7.5 years, and people that don't like change are like, what's happening? Why are you changing stuff? And I'm like, again, do you not think that they're trying to make themselves grow? I appreciate that. I'm like, I know y'all are wanting to grow. So whatever you do, I trust you. Like, I don't even question it. I know some people like, you don't question it? No, I don't question it, because I understand that their kids are literally in the company. So they're going to do whatever is best for the company as a whole to grow, which is you. So I appreciate the adapting. I appreciate changing. I appreciate the growth, because that helps us make a wave. It helps us make a wave on social media. People are like, why do people make posts about it works? Because we make waves. That's it. People know who we are. You know, I don't see anybody from any other companies on social media. And I'm like, it's good because we're making waves. So, you know, I just know that also too, Mark is hungry. Like, he is always hungry, and he's got that like red in his eyes. Like, if you ever like get on a leadership call with him or speak to him, like, you're just like, okay, I'm going to follow wherever you're going, because I know that you're going to get there. And I appreciate that, because that's exactly what I want to do for my own team. So there's 100,000 things I could say. But I just know for me, it's just like, okay, let's just keep rolling. Let's just keep this this bad boy going like forever and ever and ever and ever. And I know that they're doing everything they can to just keep helping us grow.
And that is, yeah, that's so true. And I had never done anything before this either. I mean, I had my mom in the 70s and early 80s did Princess House, which was a crystal company, and they had to do all home-based parties. So she had that for 12 years, and that she was a stay-at-home mom, and she was doing the night parties, lugging her suitcases, you know, didn't have a cell phone, did the, you know, had to write down directions. She watches me work now, and she's like, you haven't made in the shade. Like, you can do online. That's amazing. And I agree. I think the whole piece of this being family run has really kept me looking on, you know, looking down the road, looking to the future, and not giving up, not quitting. I mean, that's the biggest thing I keep telling my team is, look, you know, you decide if this is going to be a slow season or not. It's all about your mindset, because I remember when COVID hit and those last couple of weeks of March, everybody just braced for impact. And then April and May and June, and I still can't believe the growth. I still can't believe it. And then again, like, I know the summer people should be out and about. People aren't on their social media platforms as much, but here we are. And like you said, Christy, I don't see any of my other friends who do other businesses. I mean, women supporting women, but they're not sharing stories like we are. I mean, we are humble, but we're also saying who we are, what makes us tick, what is our why. And I love that you guys as leaders, as we all try to, you know, embody the way in which you guys are taking, you know, your brand socially, and we're creating our own. I just love where we're headed, and I've seen such change in my short 5 years. So my last question is, where do you see yourselves in 3 years? I'll say 3, not 5. Where do you see yourself in 3 years with this business? What are some big dreams? Not little steps, like big. You mentioned your dream house that you're building, Christy. So think about what other things you can share. Not let cat out of the bag, but where are you going in 3 years with the business? Maribeth, I'll start with you.
Oh man, I mean, you know, it's kind of broad, but like part of my job description, you guys, is like to grow sales for all of the US, you know? And so for me, the means by which I do that is relationships and building people and providing tools and some of those kinds of things. And I think my dream for this company is just that we would continue to redefine what it looks like to be in a company like this, you guys, because it's not what it looked like when our parents were dabbling in network marketing in the 70s and 80s. And I think in 3 years, you guys, it could be completely different. Again, I think this season is going to redefine so many things for tons of industries, for our country and for the world. And so for me, I'm a creative. And so what is the most creative, crazy, reinventing, like, kind of thing that we could do to just become one of the most influential companies that are out there, you know? And so that's my goals. I want to see us continue to grow. I want to see us be a household name in a way that we are recognized, but we're also continuing to see story after story, like you mentioned, Heidi, of life change and people who are growing. And I just want to continue to do that, you know, and just continue to grow my own leadership and skills along that process, because that's one of my hugest things is, like, it's really boring to stay the same. I want to grow as a leader over the next 3 years. I want to grow as a parent, as a mom. I want to grow as a wife. I want to grow as a company, and I want to grow as a community into people that are just, man, if we continue to grow at the rate we are right now, you guys, not just monetarily, because yeah, those things are going to grow, but the amount of leadership growth, the maturity of our leadership that we have now blows out of the water anything that we've had before. If we continue at this rate, you guys, in 3 years, it is going to be a big splash all over the place, not just in this country, but in the world. And so that's the kind of thing that gets me really excited, and just being able to run along you guys, because you guys will be a part of that as we do it. So yay.
So, you know, for me, Man, I got some short term, but I have some long term. You know, honestly, in the next 5 years, like we want to have at least 5 million in, I don't want to say in the bank because it's dumb to just leave it in the bank, but in some sort of investments, whatever it is. So that's a huge goal for us. But also, honestly, by next year, my personal goal is to have, it sounds funny, but to have a third of the company in the top 100 that's on my team. Like that's what excites me. Because, you know, they say that statistically, like after 80,000, money doesn't bring happiness. And so then people, they're chasing presidential, they're chasing ambassador, and then it's a moment and they're like, what is happening? Like that was just a moment. Like, you know, where's the joy? And so I find joy in the journey. And so I think that's what's given me the longevity. But what really brings me excitement and almost a good sense of pride is seeing my people do amazing things. And that to me is the top 100, you know, because the top 100, the income is going to keep going up and up and up and up and up. And I remember as a diamond, I was like, okay, well, there's no way I can get there because all those people are already amazing. They're already all there. But obviously you see, like, it doesn't really matter. If you're willing to put the work in, it doesn't really matter. And so I still look up to all those people so much, but it's just crazy. And so I'm like, I know I could take the top, you know, a third of the top 100. And that's my goal. Because I know I have an amazing group of leaders now, but like, you're just never done. Like, you know, for me, it's kind of like, how dare I say like, yeah, I got enough. I got enough. Like, cause what if I would have said enough a couple years ago? So that's one thing, but also honestly, in the next 3 years, I just want to see, you know, the top at least 50 be all Black diamond. Like that's my goal for myself, but also for the company, because if all the top 50 are Black diamond, like that's winning, you know, that's huge. There's still going to be a top 50. There's always going to be a top 100. There's always going to be goals, but if they're all Black diamond, like that's what excites me. Cause that means that everybody's winning, everybody's doing it. And that just sounds awesome, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. Because I do love the stories that you know, for those of us, you know, that even aren't sitting yet on the floor when it comes to the conference setting, gosh, crossing fingers and toes and eyelashes that we get something back next year, because those events are life changing. But I love that you said that, Christy, and Maribeth, I'm sure you felt the same way as you're growing from level to level and you see people that are on stage and they're getting different accolades. My good friend Jen won one of the charity awards this year at conference, and she's a Ruby, and she's been a Ruby for a long time, but she has a tournament for the Gary Sinise Foundation, and she had no idea what she was going to be on stage for, but I'm like, look, you know, and she shared her story, and I felt like I was walking around with a rock star at conference last year, because everybody's like, I am not going to quit because of your story. I'm not going to quit. And she's like, I'm just a Ruby. I'm like, but you're not just a Ruby. You have so much heart, and you know, you found your lane in the charitable world. And I just love that you're like, yeah, when I was a diamond, I'm looking at those people and there's no way, but I love seeing, you know, the change of people from different ranks, you know, and we're all cheering you guys on as you know, anybody. It's your mindset. So last few minutes, I just want to put you on the spot real quick and say, if you could sum up your rise to the top in a few words or a sentence, what would be your feeling, your emotion, rising to the top of the company? How did it feel? Can you summarize that in kind of a sentence or two?
I'd love to go first because I have my team training starting in like 2 minutes. But, you know, that's kind of one of those questions where you're like, honestly, I don't know. But I will just say, you guys, like, you will set goals and some you will hit and some you won't. And then you change the date, you don't change the goal. But, you know, like I said, it's a moment. Your promotion, it's a moment. The call you get from Mark, it's a moment. The Zoom you're on with Pam, it's a moment. And it is an amazing, special moment, recognizing you for honestly all the hard work you did. But I will say that you better enjoy the ride there, or else you will not feel good when you do hit that. And so, you know, my rise to the top, it's felt great. But if let's just say my team was not there with me, it would not feel great. Because honestly, the most recognition that I appreciate is from my team, is from my leaders saying, you helped me get here. It's not saying, oh my gosh, Christy, you're number 3. Oh, wonderful. That's great. That's okay. That's great. What it is them being able to say, you helped me get here. Like that gives me a sense of pride and excitement. And so that's just what keeps me like looking for my next diamond. Again, basics. The way you make money, you guys, is personally roll diamonds. That's what you do. And so for me, I'm like, okay, I'm looking for my next diamond that will eventually be my next double, my next triple, my next presidential, and my next ambassador. And so, that rise has been awesome too, just because my husband and I, have grown together, and I appreciate that so much because it's just grown our minds. Like, I mean, the truth of the matter is when you make more, you have more options. You can start thinking of, okay, what's our next investment? What do we do next? And so that's just kind of grown our relationship as a whole. And we look back, and he was going to college to make a multiple six-figure income, but it would have stopped there. Our growth would have stopped there, probably as a couple and probably individually, because there would have been no reason for me to grow. There would have been no reason for him to grow. And so honestly, that's been awesome too, just to be able to see that. And also just to be able to, people to see that we do have 4 kids. We both are home. It can be kind of chaos, but that's just kind of the life we chose, and that's been great for us. And that, a normal person can do it. That's like what I pride myself on. I don't think I'm that professional, if I'm being really honest. I don't think I'm that fancy. There's a lot of fancier people in the company. But I'm okay with that. Like that's what I've had to hold true to. Like, it's okay. I'm basic. I could be basic. I could still be number 1. I just have to level up my mind and my work. That's it. So that's kind of honestly been like the few main things that have just been like awesome just through our last 7.5 years.
Oh, thank you, Christy, so much. Maribeth and Christy, if you have to hop off, I know you're going to hop off for your team. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
See you later.
And we'll finish up with Maribeth.
Oh my goodness. Just to answer just a little bit differently, because when you first said that, Heidi, I was thinking, like, what did it take to be able to do that? Like, to be able to feel those things and to be able to grow in that way and at the speed, of growth. And I was thinking, what it took from me was like the desire to finally just let go of pride and take a chance on something, and that I feel like it's like this free fall at first. Like, you guys, I remember signing up for the business. I remember my husband being like, I don't believe in this industry at all, but I believe in you. And I think if you want to try it, you can probably be good at whatever you want to try, I remember that free fall feeling. I remember what it was like to not get my first 4 customers in 30 days. And I signed up the day after Thanksgiving, and nobody wanted to host a party for me. And that's how we did it back then. Nobody was ready to, whatever. And we got to like after Christmas, and I was like, if this is ever going to happen, I'm going to have to do it on my own. And I hosted my own launch party, which at the time was unheard of. No, my upline was in a totally different state, just decided to go for it. And it was scary. And I sent out these long emails, you guys, inviting my friends and explaining what it is. Like, it was a whole different world. But I also remember what it felt like when some people, I had 4 friends that came to that first party, and all 4 of them became a customer that night. And I thought, okay, cool. I got my first 4 customers. And by the next morning, 3 out of the 4 sent me a text and said, I changed my mind. I want to be a distributor. And what I remember about that feeling was that felt like a win. It felt like, okay, I'm winning. I'm seeing some yeses. And so I'm going to send another scary email. I'm going to send another scary message. I'm going to invite some more people over. And I did. Anybody that I didn't invite to that first party, that very next weekend, I invited everybody else that I could think of to that next party, and just began to see win after win after win. And that was the part that kept me going. When I started to see some little successes, even in the midst of some of the hard no's and just the things I had to get over for myself to be able to put myself out there, it just made it worth it. And it made me want to do it more, you know. And when I really started to see my team see success, my team see promotions, it made me want to continue to put myself out there and not let myself have a lid, you know. And those seasons where I felt stuck or I felt like I hadn't moved in a while, what made me want to move on and what made me want to like rip the Band-Aid off of whatever it was and experience that next level of sometimes discomfort, sometimes pain in leadership, was the desire for my team to be able to see me do it so that they could then do it. And that's what leadership is all about, you guys. You have to look at the situation that you're in, that everybody's in, and be honest about it. And then you offer hope. And that's what you get to do as a leader. You get to look at it and you go, okay, guys, you know, here's, you're talking to one person. Here's where you have been in your business, but you've told me your goal is this. I want to give you hope that you can absolutely get there, and let's make a plan together to do it. Let's lay it out and let's make it happen, you know? And so we set those long-term goals, and yes, we want those feelings like Christy was talking about when Mark Pentecost calls you, or, you know, whatever. We want that moment. We want that feeling. But we also have to think about those steps along the way, and we have to celebrate every stinking single one, you guys, because if we don't, sometimes nobody else does. And that goes for yourself and little things that you accomplish. Find a way to celebrate. And that also goes for your team all along the way. You guys, I remember every promotion. I remember we went executive and we were like, get in the car, kids, we're going to Maggiano's. You know, it was like everything. We just celebrated everything, every step of the way in the business. And we've just continued to do that. And, that's actually, it's a discipline, the discipline of celebration. It's important, and it's something that you need to do along the way, both to just give yourself that minute to just go, we did it, you know, we did that next thing, but also just to show your team that they're loved and they're celebrated, because they're not going to get that out in the world much at all, but they will get that in a culture like this, which is what makes me so excited. So to sum it up, just that feeling of winning and accomplishing something. And you know, going back to the schedule thing, you guys, we have a pretty like rigid routine in our family. Honestly, we get up and we have this sacred time from like 6:30 to 7:30 before kids are awake most of the time, where we can drink coffee and we can read and chill, my husband and I. And then things start happening and it gets crazy for lots of hours. And then in the afternoon, we work out. And when we started doing this a couple months ago in the afternoon, the sacrifice I made was I was showing up to Zooms looking like this. I'm still in workout gear. Like I didn't get to do full makeup all over again for the day. And I had to sacrifice that. And the workouts are hard. They've been so hard. Like today I was like, this is awful. I hate it. There were so many burpees. I literally hate every second of this workout. But when I got done and I was all sweaty, you know what? I was glad. We never regret it, right? We do something really stinking hard and we never go like, oh, I really wish I would have wimped out on that 15 minutes early. That would have been awesome. No, we go, I did that. I did that thing that's really hard. And there is a sense of accomplishment, you guys, that comes with that, that can become addictive, which is a good thing, right? And we want to keep doing it, and we want to keep winning, and we want to keep doing the hard thing to get the results that we really want to get. And it's not always easy, but I think it's ultimately worth it, you know, in your leadership and for the things that you're fighting for.
Oh, thank you so much. Girls, did you have anything else you wanted to add? You can unmute yourself real quick. I know Jordan's got her hands full there, but Rhea and Jenna and Shauna, Crystal, if you guys had anything. I was trying to leave a little bit of time, but you know, I'm letting the girls talk. So anybody, we're good? Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for joining. And Maribeth, thank you for taking the time out tonight. I appreciate it so much. Level up with leadership. This is what it's all about. One team, one mission. And I think you guys really, you know, you nailed it. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful night, guys, and be well. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.